Come on in, come on in. We're gonna cut the music short. We're not gonna let it play all the way out tonight because I know it's late. So come on in, come on in. Hit that like button. Let me know where you are checking in from. Let me know where you guys are checking in from real quick. I'm not gonna keep you guys that long. Just got some stuff I want to talk about. And actually, I'm trying to waste some time. I got one of those stay woke texts. So stay woke text. So I said, let me find me something to do so I can make sure I don't fall asleep. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out to Kelvin Birch. Shout out to Manny Fresh. Shout out to Manny Fresh, District Heights, Maryland in the building, supporting real content. Appreciate that. Big Zoe in the building. Mark late tonight. Just made 603 hours after my Staples contract. Get the bag. I wonder what you was doing to make that 300. I wonder what you was doing to make that 600. I mean, 3 hours. I kind of got an idea, but man, keep getting to the bag. CDA, CDO in the building. Arkansas in the building. What's good? What's good? What's good? Minneapolis in the building. What's good? Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. All right, let's get the particulars out the way. Shout out to everybody. Who else we got? Checking in on the road. Missouri on the way to KC to drop this load and pick up the bag. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, late Friday night. I thought I'd jump on because I'm trying to stay woke, trying my best not to go to sleep. Because I got one of those stay woke texts. So I said, let me jump on. I got some topics that I wanted to talk about anyway, so I can get one of them out the way tonight. Shout out to the Shy in the building. Shout out to the Shy in the building. So tonight we're going to talk about, man, is it a possible box truck business exodus incoming? We already had one exodus that started late last year, right at the beginning of, well, not at the beginning of the peak season, right at the beginning of the retail peak season, somewhere between November and December, right? And that continued on into January, February, and I'm starting to see some parallels of another possible box truck business exodus. And if you don't know what exodus means, look it up. Look it up. Keyword exodus. All right, exodus. That is the key word. So I'm starting to see some parallels. I'm starting to see some trends, right, of a potential exodus. All right, another one. All right, so come on in, hit that like button. By request, I do have a webinar coming up. I'm going to drop the link to the webinar in the chat. If you were here during the intro, you saw the flyer for it. It's going to be for starting a box truck business. So if you're interested in attending that webinar, general admission is $75. We're going to be there for about 4 hours, guys. So it's not going to be a whoom bam, thank you, ma'am. It's going to be a lot of information covered, and it's only going to be $75. And this is by request, so I decided to do one, and it is for beginners, all right? It's for beginners. Yesterday, a lot of people were like, man, when are you going to do an advanced one? I want to get the beginner one out the way first because we want to usher people into the box truck space the correct way. You know, a lot of the reason why we're on the brink of a second exodus is because a lot of people that came in during, you know, the PPP pandemic came in the wrong way because they were ill-advised by, influencers. So I want to make sure I get people that follow my channel that haven't entered the space yet. Make sure we get those people started. The people who are already in, who have been following my content, you guys have enough information that I've given out on the channel to keep you guys at bay for a minute, and then I'll circle back around and try to knock you guys out sometime in November. But there is the link to the webinar. I just posted it. So if you're interested, go ahead and copy a ticket. It's only 50 seats. I'm not doing no big drawn out thing. I want to work with a small group of people in that webinar so that I can answer questions. All right. I also got a poll up. Do you think your box truck business will survive 2023? So far, we got 23 votes. 65% says yes for sure. 13% says no, it's not looking good. 22% says I'm 50-50, I'm struggling. So let's add that 22 with that 13. Well, now it just jumped up. It jumped again. Up. It jumped again. All right. So let's add that 21% with that 12%. So let's say 67 and 33. So yes, for sure, 67%. 12% says no, it's not looking good. And we got 21% that's 50-50 that's currently struggling right now. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Box truck business exodus. Box truck business exodus. Do you for the ROK Financial? Oh yeah, so the Rock Financial. So shout out to my sponsor, which is Rock Financial. Let me go ahead and put that up. They're not actually sponsoring tonight's show. They sponsored the podcast, but you know what? We'll go ahead and throw the banner up anyway for Rock Financial. If you guys need any equipment funding for your business, business lines of credit, small business loans, also funding if you need equipment being more trucks or whatever, partner with Rock Financial. What I'll do also is I will put a link for Rock Financial, and if you apply, make sure you use my link so I can look at the deal. And, you know, I told them part of the deal. I said, if you guys want to partner with me, if you want to sponsor my podcast, I need to be able to look at the people's deals because I'm as you guys know, I'm totally against term loans, daily debit, those type of loans. I say, you know, business lines of credit. I say equipment loans are good. Term loans, I'm totally against. And part of the agreement that they had to agree if they wanted to partner with me and sponsor uh, my podcast. I said, you guys have to be comfortable with me deterring people away from term loans because you guys sell term loans. And they say, you know what, Mark, that's why we like you, because you're straightforward. You know, we don't have any problems with that. So I'm going to drop the link here. So guys, if you guys are interested in funding, make sure you hit that link so that way I can see everything. I can follow you along. I can consult you. I can give you what I think, you know what I'm saying? And that was part of the deal too. If something doesn't look right, if I don't think the terms are good, I'm going to tell you and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. All right. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. All right. So there's the link for Rock Financial if you need some type of working capital, equipment, working capital, equipment funding, business lines of credit, small business SBA loans. They have a plethora of different programs that you can sign up for if you need funding for your business. A lot of people have been asking me about funding solutions for their business for over a year now. All right. So here's an option. And this is the company that I partnered with exclusively, and they sponsor my podcast and they sponsor my Wednesday night show testimonial. So check them out. All right, let's get into it. Box truck business exodus. All right. I'm seeing some parallels. I'm seeing some trends of a potential box truck business exodus, similar to the exodus that started around November last year, where there was just a plethora and ushering of box truck owner operators that were exiting the industry in droves. I actually think, to be honest with you, I think we are actually on the brink of it, and I think it is actually already started. So I want to bring this content to you, and I want to talk to you guys for a little bit. I'm not going to be on here long, maybe about an hour or so, and I just want to go over some things. And I'm seeing, I had this conversation earlier today with Kirk. Shout out to Kirk for those of you that haven't seen him because he's been MIA. He's been sick. A lot of people are still hung up, and we keep talking about this, and I don't understand why people are still hung up on the pandemic, guys. Like, that time period is over with. It's never coming back. All right. You'll never see those rates again, probably in your lifetime. All right. That period is over. Like, stop thinking about it. Stop saying, I remember when I came in, the rates were this. Look at it as a dream. It was a fantasy. It wasn't real. Even though it was real temporary. That's not how this industry works. And I'm going to say it again, and I've said it before. I apologize that, and if it doesn't pertain to you, if the shoe doesn't fit, then don't wear it. I apologize to you if you were misled when you came into this industry during that time period by influencers and by creators, content creators that, misinformed you, that sold you on the present at that time state of the industry, because they didn't have the experience to say, you know what, the rates are this way now, but this industry is based off supply and demand. If you understand economics, I can give you a brief rundown on economics. It's a boom and bust cycle. We're in a boom cycle now, giving you the rundown with the infusion of capital that was put out to the American people to spend, which increased the volume. It's not going to be like this forever. So make sure you set yourself up for when the economy shifts in a downward trajectory. So make sure you set yourself up to be prepared for when that happens. Everybody was just caught up in the euphoric phase of a bubble, living in the moment. You guys have to get that out of your head. You got to get that out of your head. That time will never come back. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they put me in on a conversation that they were having with one of their brokers. And I'm going to tell you what the broker said. The broker said, you know what's crazy right now? I got semi-truck drivers running for cheaper than box trucks. Semi-truck owner operators are running cheaper. I can get a semi-truck owner operator cheaper than I can get a box truck owner operator for. So I want that to settle in your guys' head for a minute. And while it's settling in your head, I want you to think why that is. Why do you guys think that brokers can get semi-truck owner operators right now for cheaper than box truck owner operators? I want you guys to think why. Seriously, think why. And I may give you the reason why, and I may not. I kind of want you guys to figure it out on your own. You know what I'm saying? But with that information, that now increases your competition. How can a box truck compete against a semi-truck? One, for space, you can't, right? And two, if they're running cheaper, if they're accepting freight cheaper than a box truck, I really want you guys to think why that is. I constantly talk to people in coaching sessions, and I still have yet to meet one person in a coaching session. And ultimately, that's why people, maybe that's the reason why people book coaching sessions, because they're being honest with themselves, and they want to talk to me so that they can structure their business correctly. But I haven't yet to talk to someone whose business is set up correctly to whether, and here's the reason. Let me not even say that. I understand why people are unable to pay themselves, and I talked about this on the live stream I did 2 weeks ago when I was sick. It's very expensive to operate in this industry. I don't care what lane you're in. It's always been a low profit margin industry. The margins are very, very small. So it's very, important on running your business efficient. Efficient as possible. And a lot of people are not running their business efficiently. All right. I talked about the pendulum shifting in one way or another, right? And at the current rate, when people are just holding on by a thread, if that pendulum and that, well, let's say the trajectory continues to go in a downward, the pendulum continues to go in a downward trajectory, let's say, a person who's hanging on by a single thread, who's not operating effectively and efficiently, they're done. I've already had 2 people this week hit me up and say, you know what, I'm done. I turned my truck in. One said, man, I shut my MC down yesterday. Good luck to everybody. I'm done. Diesel rates are creeping back up slowly. So that variable cost is going to continue to increase, it looks like. So the point of this live is, if you are one of those individuals who is the 20-something% that I see, you have to start making some decisions. And even some of the people that say yes for sure, that may just have a positive attitude, there's some things that are coming up that you guys are unaware of. So if you are in that higher percentile that says yes for sure, if you're really skating on thin ice. So buckling down, working hard is key right now. We looked through Indeed for opportunities on the live stream yesterday, and I keep up with this stuff, and I've done it with a few people this past week in coaching sessions, and there's not a lot of opportunities out there anymore. People are even accepting big and bulky final mile as a last resort. Listen, there's a lot of desperation and destitute that's going on right now in this space. There's a lot of desperation and there's a lot of destitute going on in this space. And it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. When I talk to people every day, you know what they say? Man, Mark, I know, man. I know, man. I got to get it together. I got to get it together. If everybody knows they have to get it together and they know they're not operating their business the correct way, what's holding you back from getting it together? If you're on the brink and you know you're on a slippery slope right now, and I'm telling you this is just a warning. This is just a warning, and I'm giving you some things, some variables to think about. This is just a warning. If you know you're on a slippery slope, now may be the time to reorganize your business. Well, Mark, what does reorganization of my business look like? It's not something I'm going to get into tonight because I want to keep this live short. This is just like a PSA, But if you and I promise I'll circle back around and I'll do a live stream on reorganization. Yesterday and earlier this week, I was talking about, people ripping my content off. But you know what? Screw it. If they want to rip my content off and they want to sound crazy trying to mimic what I say, and just let them. I don't even care. I'm not going to withhold information that could possibly ultimately save someone's business. You know what I'm saying? You never know. So if you are on one of those, on this slippery slope that I'm talking about, now may be the time to reorganize your business. Waiting to the last minute is going to put you in that percentile of the people who are going to be within that exodus that I'm talking about, because we're on the brink of it right now. There's a lot of people that got their fingers crossed, that they're hoping and they're praying, and your fingers crossed and hoping and praying is not going to help you any. You have to put the work in. It's your business. This is a decision that you decided to make. No one put a gun to your head and say, yo, I want to be a business owner. And once again, I apologize for all those creators that, and I don't even want to say sold you a dream, that just misled and misinformed. But the reality of it is, you did it. You put your big boy drawers or your big girl panties on. You listen to those people. You made that decision. So now it's time to dig yourself out of it. And the best way to do it is by making better Decisions, better decisions. All right. So when a broker is saying, "Yo, I'm getting semi truck drivers for cheaper than box truck drivers," that's something that you want to think about. That side is struggling too, but guess what? 26 feet of space in a semi truck is different from 26 feet of space in a box truck. And now somebody out there maybe heard what I just said and they be like, what is he talking about? 26 feet is 26 feet. But I want you to really think about, I really want you to visualize a 53-foot trailer, and then I want you to visualize a 26-foot box truck. I want you to visualize it. I want you to visualize that trailer, the dimensions of that trailer, and then I want you to visualize the dimensions of that box truck. And then I want you to just look at it in the air. Imagine you had some metaverse Oculus glasses on and you're looking at a 53-foot trailer, you're looking at a 26-foot trailer. You got floor space in a semi trailer, but you also got a lot more airspace. It's just like moving. You know, it's just like moving. I had a guy earlier this week who, in one of my older videos, I talked about how I've moved 4 to 5 bedroom homes before in a 26-foot box truck. And this guy swore up and down, it's impossible, it's impossible, it's impossible, until other people came and said, you know, Mark is right, because I've done it. I actually moved a 4-bedroom in a 24-foot box truck. If you can't move a 4-foot, and guess what? When I say a 4-bedroom house, there's different 4-bedroom houses. All right. You can have a minimalist 4-bedroom house. You could have a 4-bedroom house that has a living room, a family room. They got a patio. They got patio furniture. They got a bunch of stuff in the garage. They got an attic. They got a crawl space. They got a basement. Or you could have a 4-bedroom home that just literally has 4 bedrooms, a living room. It doesn't have a family room. It doesn't have a full basement. It might be a sub basement. They don't have a bunch of stuff in the garage. So it's, you know, it's different case scenarios. You know what I'm saying? So I want you guys really to visualize why a 26-foot semi-truck guy right now, and they're struggling too. You know, they're complaining over there too, why they can run cheaper than a box truck and why a broker can get a semi-truck driver cheaper than a box truck. So I want you guys, that's you guys' homework. That's you guys' homework. And we'll revisit that. We'll revisit that maybe Sunday or Monday. More effort. I think more effort needs to be put in. I think a lot of people, and the reason why the averages are about 3,500, 3,000, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500, I think it's because a lot of people that I talk to that is around that range, it's one thing that I see the consistency that they're doing is they're trying to get home every Friday. I think if people position themselves better, right, and stayed out and didn't worry about coming home, I think that they can push the envelope a little more and they can make that additional 1,500. They can make that additional 1,000. All right. The key right now is, like I talked about in that live stream 2 weeks ago when I was sick. Times like this, you got to increase your revenue or decrease your living. Ultimately, why people are robbing from sustainability of business, because they're taking that money to live, and I understand that. Trust me, I understand that. I understand that the cost of living is high, but I've been telling people that the margins in this business are very small. If you're going to run a business, you decide to be a business owner. So that does not mean, you know, if you're going to be a business owner, be a business owner. Don't cheat the business. There's no way that when you rob from your business, the business is broke. The business shouldn't be broke. The business should get paid more than you. Tesla is a what? A seven, I've given this example before. Tesla is what? A $700, $800 billion company, right? How much is Elon Musk worth? About 200 billion, right? Tesla's worth more than the richest man in the world. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. Apple is a multi-trillion-dollar company. Is Tim Cook a trillionaire? No, it's a billionaire. Amazon, trillion-dollar company. Is Jeff Bezos a trillionaire? No. How is it that your bills are paid, but the business is broke? You should be borrowing from the business. The business shouldn't be borrowing from you. That's the way I look at it. So are we business people or are we hustlers? That's another conversation that one day I'm going to have, but I don't want to have it. I want to have it more in a discussion based format. It's not something that I want to come up and lecture. It's not something I want to come up and lecture. If I see my revenue decreasing, that means I have to figure out ways to increase my revenue. I know what my cost of living is. And I gave this example too. So for the people that didn't watch that, listen, you know what your living cost is, right? So now you know what you have to pay yourself. You know what you have to earn. If you haven't entered into the box truck space yet, this is something else that you need to research. How much does it cost me to live? Because now I don't have a job to depend on. I am the job. If I don't work, I don't eat. If Mark don't keep money coming in, a lot of stuff going to get taken away from Mark. See, I understand that. The last thing Mark want to do is be homeless. The last thing Mark want to do, I haven't rode the public transportation since college. And I had a car in college. The only reason I rode the public transportation is because I went to school in an area where parking was just very limited and I couldn't afford to pay for parking every day. But that was the last time I rode public transportation. So you're talking about 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. I graduated from college in 2003. So I don't want to ride public transportation. I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to go back home and live with my OG. I want to be able to do things that I want to do. So, and that is my motivation to continue to keep revenue coming in. And I think maybe people need to use that as a driving factor for their business too, because guess what? When you become a business owner, you're dependent on yourself. You no longer have that place of employment to depend on. You can't have a lazy day and say, to hell with them, I'm calling off, I got enough PTO. You don't have that luxury anymore. You gave that luxury up the day you said you want to be a business owner, especially if you're starting out. If you're starting out, you're broke. What business owner starts out rich unless you're already rich? If you're coming from a place where you have money saved up to invest in this box truck business, you've invested money, right? So you got to recoup that money. You're at a loss until you recoup that money. You're going to work the hardest at the beginning. Are you equipped mentally? Are you equipped financially to run a box truck business? This is for people who haven't entered into the space yet. You have to look at your current cost of living. Are you willing to decrease your cost of living? Which will, it's going to be some sacrifices, because guess what? The average box trucker right now is averaging about $3,500 a week. I have some that are making $5,000, but these guys have not seen home in a minute. The guys that are making $5,000 haven't seen home in a minute. And when I say in a minute, a good little minute. A good little minute. Home is not even It's not even a thought. There's not even a plan. So, there's definitely an exodus coming. It's already started. I did a peak season live stream in the members only. Shout out to all the MGMs. I gave my thoughts on peak season. Will I do a public peak season stream? Yeah, I will. But I'm not gonna do it until here's the thing. I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with y'all. I always keep it 1,000 with you. I always keep it 1,000 with y'all. The reason why I'm not doing a public peak season is because last year when I did it, no one believed me. So I'm gonna let my competitors. I want to see what they have to say about peak season first, because I'm not gonna put my stuff out now because I'm credible. I know how to read charts and shit like that. So now, since I was the only one who said they weren't going to see a peak season last year, people are waiting to see what I'm going to say, but I'm going to wait to see what they're going to say. If they say anything, all right, and then if it gets to the point where, they're not going to say anything, then I'll let you guys know. But if you really want to know, I put it out in the members only section. So, if you're a member, you can get that content. We also got other great stuff in the members only section. We got brokers list. We got contacts to recruiters for 3PLs, so that you can contact them directly and ask questions, where are opportunities available, rates, things of that nature. Brokers list, the direct contact information to the actual broker in the brokerage firms. So there's a lot of great content in the members only section. So if you're interested in my peak season forecast and brokers list and 3PL recruiter contact information, brokers information, make sure you guys join the MGM, become a mentor gang member. All right. So yeah. So there's an exodus brewing. I don't want people to get caught up in it. So I'm giving you guys, putting you guys on notice. Shape up. If you need to reorganize your business, do that. If you need to transition, now may be the time. Working harder, now may be the time. Now may be the time. Let's skip peak season. Let's skip peak season. Let's jump to January. We're September now. October, November, December. All right. Let's skip peak season. I don't want to talk about peak season unless you're in the members only section. So it's January 1st. Let's put our mind in the frame of January 1st. We have 3 more months until the end of the year. When January 1st comes, if you think it's bad now, if you think it's tough now, subtract another 25% from that, from freight. Subtract about another 25 to 30% volume of freight. So wherever you see the industry at now, subtract another 25 to 30% from it. Well, Mark, how do you know that? Because this is historically what happens in January. It's no secret. I've been in the industry since 2010. Nothing moves in January. Why do you think a lot of people go on vacation in January in logistics? Nothing moves. Nothing. It's quiet. If you think now is tough, wait till January. So I say that to say this. It's just like I said when people came in during the pandemic. You spend money with a person, right, that is an influencer. It's their obligation to say, look, okay, we're going to talk about this, but I'm obligated to forewarn you that you may want to work a little bit harder, stack away money, because historically in January, freight is very, 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 very very, 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 very low. All right. So now is the time to bust your behinds, run as much as you can. You're not in a position to say no to nothing because you need to sock money away for a time period that comes every year. You listen, January of 21, January of 22 in particular. January of 22 was not a normal January, right? There was still stimulus being given out. I've never seen that much freight in a January ever in my life. Forget me being in truck, coming into the logistics in 2010. All through college, I worked in retail. I worked in retail all through college. After I graduated college, I took a management job in retail at Target. All right, so just from a retail perspective, after holiday, January, it's dead. That's when retail lays people off. No one's buying anything. There's nothing to move. Same thing for logistics. There's nothing to move. Nothing. Now is the time to hustle, bust your behind, because if you're on the brink of failing right now, January is going to put you out of business. I told people this last year. I was this, I was that, I was this, I was that, until that time period came. And I went from this or that to, damn, you was right. I wish I would have listened to you. Now is the time you should be busting your behind. It's just like in the moving industry. You come to me, look, the moving season starts last week of March, first week of April. Last week of September, go to the last week of September. You got 6 months. If you're on the new, you're not going to have enough repeat customers and referrals because you haven't been in the industry long enough that your name is out there that you're going to be able to get through the winter season. Even through the winter seasons with tenure in the space, it's still considerably slow than it is during the peak season of moving, which is April through the end of September, right? I'm forthcoming with people. So I say, listen, you need to bust your behind those 6 months because it's going to get really slow in the winter because no one moves in the winter. But if you bust your behind in the summer, you're going to make enough money that if you don't want to do anything in the winter, you don't have to. But you got to work those 6 months, 6 to 7 days a week. Same situation here. Same situation here. So when I say there's an exodus coming, God damn it, I mean there's an exodus coming. It's going to either catch you if you're not operating right one way, or it's catch you the other way. It's going to catch you at the front door, or it's going to turn around in January and catch you at the back door. What I don't want you to do is get caught at any door. I want you to stay in the crib. I want you to stay in the business. So that's why I'm here tonight on a Friday night, putting you up so that you can keep this in your mind. You know what? Mark said, you know what? Man, I don't feel like, let me just go ahead and do that, man. Mark said, man, it's finna get rough. Now, don't listen to Mark this year. And you're going to be like the rest of the people last year when I was on the new on YouTube and people didn't think I was who I was until I had to prove them wrong. Get up. Get to work. That's what another one of the major issues is. People just don't want to work. Like, if you don't do the work, who's going to do it for you? It ain't that hard. If you came into the moving space, I've given a blueprint that if you gave 10 good solid years to the moving industry, I swear to God, if you gave 10 good solid years to the moving industry, I swear to God, you'll have enough money that, you know, you can live comfortably. You can have other streams of revenue, but you'll never have to do hard labor again. It's too much money. It's back-breaking work, but you're compensated for it handsomely. As long as you eat clean, you keep yourself in shape, you use your legs, don't try to not to use your back, you can get through it. The opportunities are there. It's just a lot of people have tried to take shortcuts or didn't do their research or were misinformed and ill-advised. And I think people just need to take a step back really, really quickly and just reorganize. I think if people took a step back and just took a look at the overall picture of their business, even if it's just a weekend, I'm going to take a weekend. I'm finna really sit back. Let me download all my statements. Let me pull all my settlements. Hit that like button. We got 50 some people. We got 33 likes. Hit that like button and look at everything, the full scope, and just lay everything out and just reorganize and then start fresh that Monday with a proper game plan. Take that initial sacrifice and act like you're coming in fresh, clean slate. I guarantee you'll see better results. I guarantee you'll see better results. Let's see. Entre Guru says the school loans hit consumers' pockets also, Mark. That hurt consumers' pockets. There's a lot of things I think hurting consumers' pockets. You know, and I don't want to really get into this because it's going to get into my peak season stuff, and I really want to keep that exclusive for right now. But I will say this. I will say this. It's not the fact that people don't have money to spend, right? It's the fact that people aren't spending it on what you guys needed them to spend it on, all right? Box truck business is a service-based industry, but you need goods to move. And if people aren't spending money on goods, then there's nothing to move. Same thing with people who are in hot shots or flatbed, right? People that move like building material. Interest rates are high. And you know what's funny about the interest rates being high? These interest rates, 7.5% is not the highest interest rates. That's not the highest interest. In the 80s, interest rates, that was a time period in the 80s where interest rates were 16, damn near 17%. It's just money costs more now. Money costs more now. It costs more now, you know, with inflation. So, you know, with that being said, with interest rates at 7.5%, people aren't buying homes anymore. People aren't building homes right now. So even those guys in that lane are suffering because there's not a lot of building material to move because people aren't building houses. There's an issue going on right now in America with just the inventory. It's so bad that people aren't buying that inventory is low. Mark, what do you mean inventory is low? People that are looking to rent, there's not a lot of inventory. People can't find places to move to because people are staying put. People are spending money on experiences, right? Service-based experiences, but people aren't spending money on goods. And you can't put experiences in the back of a box truck. You cannot put experiences in the back of a box truck. So consumer buying behavior needs to shift from service-based spending or experience-based spending to goods. Right? So I did a case study last week. I was shopping on Michigan Avenue. Thousands of people. Nobody had bags. Nobody. For every 150th person I walked past, they might have had a bag. People were just down there sightseeing and just down there, just down on Michigan Avenue, not spending no money, taking a lot of pictures though, hanging out, taking pictures. The restaurants was full. Don't go to Gibson's, or go to Ocean Prime, or go to Barton G's, or go to Steak 48. Just pop up at Steak 48 on a Saturday or Friday night tonight without a reservation. Let me know if you get a table. Let me know how long they say the wait is if you don't have a reservation. I swear to God, every table, every seat at the bar is packed. The restaurants are doing great right now. Oh, even the experience-based restaurants. Oh man, trying to get in an experience-based restaurant, man. Go to one of these experience-based restaurants where they cooking in front of you, or you can order the whole pig, $900 dinner, where they bring the whole pig out, or they bring the whole alligator out on a platter and they roast it right in front of you. They bring the alligator out with his mouth open like that, and then they got the apple in the mouth, and then they display it to you. The alligator just laying there dead to the mud, and then they stick the thing in it and then put it on the roaster, and the thing just spin around. That's a $900 dinner. It's the experience. But people are paying for that. People are paying for that. Restaurants are making a killing right now. Have y'all seen the numbers? The revenue for restaurants right now? It's ridiculous. So yes, people are in a bind, but people are still spending. So Mark, where's the money coming from? Here's another trend. I don't know if I talked about it. Generation Z, right? And their older Generation X, my generation, I'm a younger Generation X. I'm like the last year Generation X. So older Generation X, latter baby boomers, their parents, maybe some early millennials too. You know, some people had kids at a young age. So some early millennials, right? Their children, Generation Z, right? They're spending the money on these experiences. Well, man, Mark, how are they living? Because, man, I'm running my box truck business, and everything you said on that live stream was spot on. That's why I'm robbing from the sustainability of my business, because after I pay all my fixed and my variable costs, there's the money that's left. That's barely enough money for me to survive on. I don't make enough that I can leave money to cash flow and pay myself. So how are they doing it? I'm gonna tell you how they're doing it. There was an article that I came across a couple of weeks ago that their parents are funding their lifestyle. Their retired parents are dipping into their retirement savings, and they're covering their cost of living. And I can attest for that from a firsthand case study basis. Why? I had to get my black behind back on the truck during the pandemic. I had to get back out on the truck, right, due to shortage of labor. So I got back on one of my trucks during the pandemic, 2020, after 7 years, right? And a lot of the jobs that I did for Generation Z people, guess who was there? The parent, either the mother, the father, or both. Moving this young lady or this young man from one downtown high rise to another. Now, you thinking the parents are there just to oversee the move, to make sure everything is going well. No, the parents are there to pay. You know how many parents I talked to during the pandemic when I was out on the truck? Yeah, I found this apartment. Yeah. Hopefully she finds a job soon, or hopefully, she got a new job. Hopefully she saves up enough money so she can start paying her own rent. Yeah, I flew in from Michigan to help with the move. Yeah, so yeah, I'm paying the rent. Yeah, and then they pay for the move. They pay for the move and they paying the rent. So a lot of Generation Z that you see that are on Instagram, and you're wondering like, damn, how are they taking pictures of all these meals and posting them to their Instagram page every night? It's because the money that they're making from their little corporate job, for wherever they got their college degree from, they're working in marketing or advertising, they're working at Deloitte. People love to work for Deloitte. Oh, I work for Deloitte. Or they work for Citadel. Oh, I work in the Citadel building. Oh, I work for Boeing. I'm just naming corporate companies that you guys may know that are based out of Chicago. They work for these companies, right? And they make a decent wage, right? But they don't understand what grind is. They want to live, work, and play in the same area. See, they want to live where I live without doing the work that it took to get here. They want to just live here because it's just a cool place to live, but they really can't afford it. So mommy and daddy are affording them and paying for their living expenses, and they're taking their money on Friday or every other Friday, whenever it is they get paid, and that money is going for Ubers because they got to take Ubers everywhere. They have to have their social experiences after work. They got to go to the fancy restaurants. They got to go to the fancy brunches. They got to go to we're all chipping in. It's Johnny's birthday this Saturday, so we're going to charter a yacht. Boats are the big thing now ever since the pandemic. You have to charter a yacht. So they're having their boat parties. And this is why people are like, well, man, if everybody's broke, how are people still spending money? How is Generation Z spending money? Because Generation Z is spending the money on fun and entertainment, and their parents are funding their living. And this is why service-based spending is up and goods are down. So new to the box trucking industry, got a USDOT, is still working on MC. Is this a good time to start 26 with box truck business? This is a question I get asked every live stream. The answer is going to always be the same. When you're starting a business, it all depends on how you enter. Is it tough for people right now? Yes, it's tough, but a lot of the people it's tough for is because they have a high initial cost, and most of these people entered during a time period where the cost of entry was very high. All right. And since then, the industry has corrected itself, but their initial cost is still high. You know what I'm saying? I think if you were to enter now, as long as you entered correctly, right? Truck prices have gone down in some markets. You can't get a fair rental. If you really just took your time, did your business plan, do your market analysis, that's very key. Understanding your market, looking at all of the different lanes that you can do with a box truck and determining which one is going to be best for you based on where you're from. Do you want to do local, or do you prefer to go over the road? You may want to do local, but your location may not call, or may just not have the opportunity for local, because you may live in a very low dense, very rural area where there's just not much opportunity due to the low population. And if there's low population, there's just not going to be a lot of volume. And if there's not a lot of volume, that means a 3PL is not going to put a facility in that particular area. They'll have a guy come from the major city and drive out 100, 150 miles to cover that area, because they're going to station their facility closer to where the freight needs to be moved more in a more densely populated area. So all these variables, and these are just some variables, all these things that I'm mentioning are things that you need to look into before entering. If you enter correctly, you do the proper research, you have a business plan, you understand your market, you understand your competition, you understand that the margins are very low in this business. So now, by understanding that, you know what you're getting into before you get into it, right? Because the reason a lot of people fail is because they invest into something that they don't understand. So what you're doing is you're learning to understand the business so that when you invest in it, you know what you're getting into. You know the margins are small, so you know you're going to have to work like holy hell at the beginning to profit. You know whatever things you have that are fixed costs. Let's say like if you buy a truck, it would be wise for you to aggressively work so you could try to pay that off and recoup your initial investment as soon as possible. Knowing all these things are going to put you in a better position to excel. So to answer your question, yes, if you focus on a lot of those variables or all of those variables that I talk about, that I just mentioned to you, plus the ones that I didn't, I believe you will come into this business and you'll be successful regardless of what's going on in the industry. Because you understand, listen, it's tough right now, but my cost is low. So I can survive and profit right now because I entered correctly. And then when we go from bust to boom, I'm already in a great position. I'm going to run it up. But I'm smart enough to know that when we're in that boom cycle, I'm not going to be frivolous with my money. I'm going to reward myself, you know what I'm saying? But I'm also going to sock money to the side because I know a storm is going to be brewing eventually. I've done enough research. I've been watching the market. There was a freight recession in 2019, 2016, 2009. So every so many years, this industry goes through a bust cycle. So I want to set myself up that I'm in position and prepared that I can withstand the storm. Maybe now that we're in a boom cycle and that the money is flowing, maybe I should aggressively pay off my truck now. Let me start doubling up on my notes while the money is coming in. Let me get that out the way so I can, untighten this collar around my neck that when we do go into a bust cycle, that's one less thing I have to worry about. That's one less fixed cost. Should I reward myself with a new car so people can know I have a successful box truck business? Or should I pay my box truck off while the money is coming good? That's a decision that a business owner has to make. Problem solving. It's really not a problem. It's just about making wise decisions. So yeah, the answer is any time is a good time as long as you enter correctly. As long as you enter correctly. I see a lot of older box trucks for sale on Facebook and Craigslist. You're going to see even more box trucks popping up. Izzy Wall said he came out of high school in 03. Yeah, I came out of college in 03. Let me see. You said you filled out the link for Rock Financial. How do you follow up with them? You filled it out yesterday, so it's Monday. You should hear something back by Monday. If you don't hear nothing back by Monday or Tuesday, let me know. Matter of fact, you use my link, right? Hold on, let me see something. Did you use my link, Big Zo? They haven't opened you up yet. When they opened you up, I'll be able to follow it. It's Friday, so if you don't hear anything by Monday or Tuesday, let me know. Uh, you're not lying. This is my third week running, and you definitely have to understand properly plan to make it new. Yeah, being new is difficult. It's difficult being new, especially being new. I think. See, here's the thing: being new during a bust period when demand is low, right? It's different from entering when a boom cycle. So let's do a compare and contrast. Hit that like button too. I know, it's Friday night. You might be a little lazy. You might be laid up, with your boo thing. One of your arms may be around your boo thing. But do me a favor, take your other arm and hit the like button for me. All right. Here's the thing. When you enter into a business, let's say the box truck business during a boom phase, where, during the pandemic, 21, 20, early part of 2022, all of 2021, latter part of 2020, everything is peaches and cream. You enter into heaven. At least it probably felt like a lot of people, right? You didn't know that you really entering into a dream, right? So you entered in, rates were really, really high. Your cost was high too. But like I said before, you really didn't know your cost was high because you were ignorant. You didn't know. And ignorant is not a bad thing. Ignorant, the definition of ignorant means you just don't know. So you didn't realize that your initial cost was high. You didn't understand it. You didn't feel it because it kind of balanced out, right? So you entered in making money. At that time, it's the best thing in the world. Now, the person who enters in now has to work harder. Nothing's given to them. See, the person that entered in during the pandemic, they didn't have to use their brain. Freight was just through the roof. There was not a shortage of freight. Rates were through the roof. Everything was peaches and cream. No one had to use their brain. If you had your authority, everything was set up. You had a truck, you was gonna make you some money. There was no thought about it. You didn't have to plan nothing. Everything was just hot. Whatever load you took, you was gonna make you some money. An idiot could have made money during the pandemic. During 2021, an idiot. The dumbest person that you know. Think about the dumbest person you know. They could have made money as long as they had a box truck and they was licensed. That same idiot that you thinking about right now, they wouldn't know what to do if they entered into the space right now. Person entering into the space now, they got to use what's up here. Person didn't have to use what was up here during the pandemic. Now, when you get this up here to working, and if you can figure out how to enter into this space now, and survive, you have a gift. You have a gift. Especially when you see so many of your peers, including the ones that misinformed and misled people in the disguise of an influencer, right? Or a guru or whatever, even they're gone. So if you can come into this space now and make it, you have a gift. But you got to use this. Person coming in during that time period, they didn't have to use this. All they had to do was just come in, open the door, and they was going to make money. It was literally just handed to them like that. You can't do that now. You can't do that now. Uh, is Amazon really as bad as they say as far as earnings go? I'm gonna answer you this. I've never ran Amazon Relay. I'm always been critical of Amazon Relay. I've actually had debates about Amazon on the channel with Amazon influencers last year. Um, there's not any Amazon influencers anymore. So by there not being any Amazon influencers really bigging up Amazon, I could only use and make an educated guess that it's probably in the same similar boat as OTR middle mile. Because if Amazon was booming and bunking, then people would be talking about it. But all the Amazon influencers, they don't make content anymore. You don't see people making Amazon content anymore. So I can only use my professional opinion that no, because trust me, if it was booming, Amazon influencers would take the opportunity to monetize the fact that it was booming and they would be creating content. So you got to use our context clues. You got to use our context clues here, So trust me, if it was booming and bunking like that, trust me, people would be they'd definitely be trying to monetize it. Hey man, we getting a bag over at Amazon. Click the link, man. Sign up for this code. I'm gonna show you how to get the bag. Man, listen here, man. I'm making this amount of money a day. You don't see that. You don't see that. So I can only be led to believe that no. Are there people making money in Amazon? Yeah, I believe there are people that are making money. Just like there's people making money with middle mile. But, box trucking didn't become popular until influencers made it popular during the pandemic. All these avenues that Amazon, Final Mile, all this stuff already existed. So there's people that are making money, there's people that are losing money. The majority of the people that are losing money are the people who entered during that short couple year time period. So, can you make money? Yeah, I don't like the format of Amazon, how it's, one direction, what I'm saying? I don't like that. They send you one place and they don't have nothing for you to come back. I don't particularly like that. I don't really care for a lot of Amazon's company, you know, ethics, you know what I'm saying? But I will be honest with you. I am a I am a owner in Amazon. I'm invested in Amazon, the company. I've done very well for myself investing in Amazon. Now I can say that, you know, having them in your portfolio. Oh man, when that shit split a couple years ago. Oh my, listen, I'm always keep it funky with you now. You I probably made more money just by being an investor in Amazon stock than some of these Amazon relay guys. And that's no cap. That's no cap. So yeah, I own Amazon from an investment standpoint, but I don't no, it's just not my thing. Uh let's see. Got a lot of people my age mark doing some fraudulent stuff. My gen has no morals or principles. They'll steal from their own family. Yeah, this generation is heavy on the scamming side, heavy on the scamming side. Technology has made it that way. They're very technologically advanced, so they know how to get money without doing work. You know, and that and check this out. There's nothing wrong with you know if you can make money from using your brain the legal way. I'm not talking about scamming. So the younger generation who have leveraged technology in order to enrich themselves, whether it's building apps, whether it's building new technology, whether it's going to school, learning cybersecurity, getting cybersecurity jobs, making $300,000 or $400,000 a year, whether it's working at Google, making $250,000 a year, whether it's working at Facebook, making $180,000 a year, and they're just using their brain. There's nothing wrong with that. I say if you can make money using your brain versus doing blue collar labor, go for it. But there's also a downside to technology too, because then you have a lot of young people that are doing like what you're saying, the scam and fraudulent thing. They're smart too, because to pull off some of these scams that I see, like the dynamic of the scam, the infrastructure of the scam, like some of this stuff is ingenious. And if they could take that same ingenuity that they have to defraud people and use that in a positive manner, they can still check a bag legally. So yes, the point is the younger generation, they're gonna get it, but they just gonna get it easier, whether they're gonna get it legitimately using technology or illegitimately using technology. The point is they're not really looking forward to doing any hard blue collar labor. I don't care if it's box trucking, plumber, electrician, bus driver, construction worker. They ain't trying to do none of that stuff. So you're right. You said they only worry about looking good for the temporary image. Definitely true. The Instagram got a lot of part to do with that. Uh, I'm seeing a lot of trucks being sold now. Lots of people at ATL selling their trucks. Just reiteration of what I'm talking about on this live stream and my little speech earlier. Exodus incoming. It's actually already started. You're gonna really see it, and you're gonna revert back to this live stream tonight in a few months and be like, damn, Mark talked about this back in September. I'm just letting you know. You know what I'm saying? I'm letting you know now. It's we're on the brink. It's already started. Give it a few months and you're gonna be like, damn, Mark, you did it again. Watch what I tell you. Let me see. What's to Rock? I missed that. So Rock is a financial company that I partner with. They sponsor my Thursday night podcast and box truck testimonials. Here's a link. I'll put the link up in the chat. They offer a plethora of different options for funding, business lines of credit, equipment loans, working capital, SBA, term loans, a few different options. They're my actual sponsor. I'll put the link here in the chat. Make sure, if you do sign up or you're looking for some type of funding, you use my link so I can follow the deal. And, if you want me to advise you on the deal, part of the agreement that I have with them is that I can advise my subscribers, yay or nay. And they're all for it. That's why I ultimately decide to allow them to advertise on the channel and partner with them. So if you're looking for working capital, business lines of credit, funding, things of that nature, hit that link that I just put in the chat and see what they have to offer you. You said we made $500 first week and was making over $100 a day. This is my third week and just made over $4K. It's still money out here. Definitely still money out here. Just gotta, you gotta set yourself upright. Jabril said Amazon is horrible and racist. I like I said, I definitely, don't agree with a lot of their ethics. There's some stories that I've read. There's some DSPs that have reached out to me. There's some things that were said to me when I was onboarding to be a DSP, which is ultimately why I pulled out halfway through the onboarding process, which I did do a 1-hour video last year and told my story of going through the onboarding process. So there's definitely some validity to those claims. I wouldn't go as far as saying racist. I hear what you're saying, but I haven't dealt with that. But I've definitely seen their ethics are just, shitty. There's a lot of situations where they could have made things right and they didn't. So yeah, but you know their stock is great. Uh, if I was a single man, my business would really be eating right now. That live 2 weeks ago helped me out a lot. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. What percentage of your trucks do you own versus lease and rent? What are the pros and cons of long run based on your experience? I don't rent anything. You must be new. I actually divested. So my peak was 15 trucks. I divested a major portion of my fleet during the pandemic. All right. So I don't rent anything. Trucks I have, I purchased over 10 years ago. My trucks is over 10 years old. All right. Purchased 11 years ago. Um, what are the pros and the cons in the long run based on your business? Uh, I think all the cons are initially at the beginning. The only cons that I've come to, have to deal with at the latter part of my career, I think are ultimately just due to one, the pandemic, and two, just the shift in behavior or the generational shift, right? Employment, sourcing talent. When I first got started, it was easy to find people. There was no gig economy. There was no the scam culture that we were talking about a few minutes ago. It didn't exist. There was no Zelle. There was no Cash App. There was no Venmo. There was none of these things that people could scam. There was no gig economy. People couldn't roll out of the bed and have 20 different apps and options to have that they can cut on and just instantly make money. People still had to go and find a job the traditional way. Get an application, fill it out, wait, call, say, hey guys, I filled out an application there 2 weeks ago. Did you guys get all that shit? That was the norm when I got started. Being in the moving business, at that time, uh, my biggest issue at the beginning, which I was able to solve, was finding people. Nobody wanted to do that business, but guess what? There were people that wanted to do that type of work, which was the people that couldn't do anything else, which were felons. So once I got a pipeline and I figured out, oh, well, I could just hire felons. I'm going to pick through the litter of the best felons. You know what? I'm also going to do in-house referrals. If you work for me and you got, somebody that can't get an opportunity, come holler at me. So finding employment back then was very, very easy. Now it's very, very difficult. That's the only con that I've had. Most of the cons you come across when starting a business like this are going to be at the beginning, and a lot of that is just going to be just solving problems, problem solving. You're going to be faced with a lot of different challenges, a lot of decisions, just shifting through this industry, the ups and the downs of this industry. The ups and the downs in this industry, the gaps aren't too far between, a boom period and a bust period. Like you don't have, man, we got 10 years of good trucking and then 5 years of bad. It's like 2-3 good years, 2-3 bad years. 4 good years, 3 bad years. Like the turnaround time is quick. And if you're having 3 good years, those 3 good years are going to go by quick, and then something's going to happen. A new president's going to come in. Something's going to shift the landscape of the economy that's going to put a lot of FUD into people. If you don't know what FUD is, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, which is going to ultimately, change the buying behavior of how people spend their money. And if they do what they're doing now, shift from goods to services, then it's also going to affect the industry. If people are infused with a bunch of capital for a period of 2 to 3 years, they've bought everything. No one really needs anything right now. You know what I'm saying? Because they bought everything when they got all that money. So just, having to deal with just the ups and downs of, the industry. The thing is once you've gone through it a couple of times and you get years of experience, you can start forecasting. Okay, you know what? This is going to happen. And then you know how to prepare yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I was able to call peak season last year when everybody else was telling people it was going to be a peak season. I was saying it wasn't. I've been through it before. There has never not been a peak season, but I understood and understand the industry to know what to read, know what charts, know how to read the chart, know what modes to look at 4 to 5 months before November to determine no, there's not going to be a peak season. So once you have tenure in the space and you can forecast and you can see things months ahead of time, all those cons that you had at the beginning that you were trying to figure out that you didn't know because you didn't have the tenure, all that goes away. You know what? Ain't gonna be no peak season. So let's say I was heavily invested last year, which I wasn't because I had already divested. But let's say I was heavily invested. I heavily invested still. I would know, you know what? I need to do as much as I can now because man, November, December gonna be shitty. The same way that I was able to divest, I was smart enough to divest because I was tenured. Look, where am I going to get an opportunity to sell off a depreciating asset for 2 to 3 times the amount that I bought this depreciating asset for 9, 10 years ago? Probably never. That has never ever happened before. I could sell something that I bought 10 years ago, put hundreds of thousands of miles on, and sell it for 2 to 3 times the amount that I bought it for over 10 years ago after we put hundreds of thousands of miles on it. Never get that opportunity. An inexperienced business owner probably would have just kept his finger crossed and, I'm going to hold on to all my trucks because once this pandemic thing, whatever this is over, everybody going to have to come back to work. And that was another thing. Like, man, people have gotten accustomed to not working. I'm already having an issue trying to source talent now. Man, I think people are going to be conditioned. I don't want to take that chance. Let me start selling off trucks. I'm making money off the truck. I'm making 2 to 3 times the amount that I purchased these trucks for. And I'm selling them to suckers because any person who would spend that type of money on something that old, that's a depreciated asset, that's that thirsty to get into an industry because Joe Schmo on the internet told him you get into a box truck space, you make $1 million, too be it. It's just like the stock market. You got buyers and sellers. The smart people buy low, they sell high. Who buys high? Sucker. Guess what ends up happening to them? They get left holding the bag. So 9 times out of 10, people that I divested my trucks into that I actually profit from a depreciating asset, they were suckers because guess what? They got left holding the bag because 9 times out of 10, at what they bought that asset for, 9 times out of 10, I haven't spoken to these people, they're probably not able to survive. Because one, they were ignorant enough to spend that type of money on a depreciating asset. That lets me know that they didn't do their research. So as you become tenured in the space, you really don't deal with cons. My biggest con in the last part of my career is just sourcing talent. I can foresee stuff, so I know how to move and shake. Getting through those initial, let's say those first 5-6 years. After that, you know how to move and shake. You know how to move your money around. You know how to invest in other things. You set an exit plan. And when you set that exit plan, you know how to get to work so that you can ride off into the sunset. So, if you do Amazon Relay, you're lucky to get over 2,000 miles. And it's all overnight work. So you're starting your shift after midnight and going until 8 a.m. You said this AI is about to take scamming to a whole nother level. So I'm still researching stuff between cargo van and a box truck, not looking to get rich scheme. I'm partially retired and I have some money residual and savings to fall back on board with my desk job. Get a cargo van. If money isn't really a big thing, get something that The difference between a box truck and a cargo van is there's more opportunity for a cargo van because you're dealing with small parcels. In a box truck, it's easier work, it's lighter work. It doesn't pay as high, but the work is more consistent. And even if you can't find a consistent dedicated work, there's just more gig-based opportunities centered around van work than it is 26-foot box truck. People that are looking on Mothership and Curry and whatever go share right now with a 26-foot box truck, if they can't find nothing dedicated, they're having a hard time sourcing ancillary opportunities on the gig apps versus the cargo vans. You got a plethora of different options. If you want to break it all the way down to doing Amazon Flex and Instacart, you can, because Instacart now has lows. You got Instacart, you got Roadie, you got GoShare, you got Curry. You might have something on Curry. You might have to pick up a few cans of paint, take them to a construction site. You might swing over to Lowe's for Roadie, pick up an order there. You might swing over to here for GoShare. They might have 3 orders for you. By the time you do them 3 or something else popped up, a couple Curry, there's a lot more opportunities for cargo van work. And then with the cargo van work, there's plenty of opportunities. You talk to T-Force, they still got a plethora of opportunities for Office Depot for cargo van. Same thing with Waco, same thing with Capstone. You go run your Office Depot, you go run your Staples. Big Zoe was in here earlier. He might still be here. He do a Staples run during the day. He does moving in the evening. The thing with those office supply contracts, those are dedicated. They're not going anywhere. These 3PLs have had these contracts over 10 years. I was running Office Depot. I started running Office Depot for Dynamics, which is now T-Force, back in 2014. They still have that account. All right. So when you're dealing with that, these contracts are pretty much being delivered to government buildings, court buildings, public schools, private schools, charter schools. All these places order their office supplies: pallets of paper, reams of paper, bags of pencils and pens and erasers and stuff like that. Granger is another contract that they may have you doing work for. Waco, Staples, Capstone, Staples. Capstone also has a mail parcel contract. So I would probably go with the cargo van if you're just looking to get out the house, make a few extra dollars. I would definitely go with the cargo van. I think the opportunity is more, there's just more opportunity there for a cargo van than it is for a box truck. Can you make good money off the load boards with a 16-foot box truck if you're the owner operator? No. Think about it. The whole purpose of this live was to ultimately encourage and lead 26-foot box truck owner operators and, get their mental frame going through a tough time right now that they're going through. So if 26-foot box truck owner operators and the masses are complaining, and then you couple that with what I just said, a broker said, you know what, I can get a semi-truck driver for cheaper than a box truck driver right now. Now you couple that with that, where is there a place for a 16-foot box truck? You got 10 feet less space. 10 feet less space than a 26-foot box truck. That $7,000 to $10,000 in a 16-foot box truck, guy, that was cap. Okay? No, you're not doing it. It's not happening. So no, 16-foot box truck is good for local work. You can actually utilize a 16-foot box truck for some of the stuff that I just talked to the gentleman prior to you for. You can use that for T-Force. What they'll do is if you're in a larger market, they'll give you all the palletized paper runs. So what happens is, like, you'll have, like, let's say big plants. Like we had a run that would deliver to GM, the GM plant here. They will order a pallet or two of paper. It's 40 reams of paper on a pallet. that's not going on a. It can go on a van, but it's easier to say, you know what? I need a GM ordered a pallet or two, and you got 3 or 4 schools on that run, and each one of them ordered a pallet of paper. So man, you can stick all those pallets on a 16-foot box truck. Guess what? You're coming out ahead anyway versus the van. Why? Because if there's 40 reams of paper on a pallet, you're still getting paid by the piece. So now if you got 6 pallets on your 16-foot box truck, 40 times 6, that's 6, 18, 24, that's 32. 6, 12, 18, 24, I'm sorry. That's 24, that's 240 pieces. No, what am I talking about? You got 40 pieces, right? And you got 6 pallets. 6, 12, 18, 24. Right. So 240 pieces at $2 a piece. It's late, y'all. Excuse my math. I'm tweaking. I gotta hit the tweaking button for me on my math.
You tweaking.
See, I gotta hit the tweaking button for me myself. All right, so you got 240 pieces, right? Times $2 a piece, right? So you're decreasing your stops because some of these guys in these vans may do 40, 50 stops. You're doing 6 stops, 6 pallets, 6 stops, let's say. But each stop is 40 pieces at $2 a piece. So you would take a 16-foot box truck and do work like that. And you can make a killing. You can make a killing because you're able to do bulk runs. We call them bulk runs, right? Right? You're able to do less stops and make the same amount of money, right? That a van could make, or even more because you're doing you could do more pieces because you're doing palletized stops. And if that's one option, your second option is you could do moving. You could do up to a 1-bedroom. 2 guys, $100 an hour, 2-hour minimum, $100 truck fee. I would start right there. So each job you take, you're looking at a minimum of $300, depending on if it's done within that 2-hour minimum. And that's what I would focus on for a 16-foot box truck. OTR, 16-foot box truck is not for OTR. OTR is not for a 16-foot box truck. You just don't have enough space to really make it worth your while. Well, Mark, you was right about your body being numb to moving. Been working 6 to 7 days, and my body feel crazy in the morning. But once the job started, I'm active. Right. So yeah, once you really get started, you're gonna be numb, and then like after that first job, when you get to that first job, that first few trips up and down the stairs, let's say, you get loose, and it's just like you don't feel nothing. It's like you a rubber band. So, but yeah, this is exactly what happened. Toreen said T-Force didn't get back to him. If you try for Home Depot, then, that freight is diminishing. A lot of that freight was seasonal. So that's why the volume upticked in the spring. If you're looking for curbside, but they still have plenty of opportunities for Office Depot. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. What's up, Chuck? Thanks for checking in. Zupchuck said, yeah, that was hella cap. Almost had me reason why I didn't do Middle Mountain 16. Ain't happening. Yeah. So yeah, it was a guy on here last year running around telling people that he was making $7,000 to $10,000, I think, a week in a 16-foot box truck. He was very careful about what he showed. He was running. I think he was running illegally for the most part. I cannot attest to if the money that he claimed he was making, if he was actually making, but I definitely think he was running illegally and just being, a smart individual. $10,000 a week, that's like semi-truck numbers on average. You know what I'm saying? That's like a good semi-truck, gross for the week. So you telling me a 16-footer could skip over a 26 footer and make comparable gross to a semi truck a week, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's why he was the only individual that was running around the internet saying that stuff, which I think he was just, trolling for the most part to get views and likes. But that was a lot of people during the pandemic. And believe it or not, with him saying that, there were people that were believing him, buying into what he was saying, booking sessions and stuff like that. And I just feel like, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Like people have to use common sense. Like, if you have, God gave everybody common sense. And this is where I go back and I talk about middle American. Don't be even if you're from middle America, don't act like a middle American. Act like you from Chicago or New York or LA. Act like you got some type of oomph in you. Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't be the guy on the Las Vegas Strip thinking you gonna win at 3-card Molly. You're not gonna win. It's a setup. The person that you saw winning is in on the play. Stop being naive. If it was that easy, you would see a lot more people doing it. If it was that easy, I would tell you it was that easy. If moving was that easy, I would tell you it was that easy. I tell you it's hard. I try to scare you out of this shit. Most people, I try to tell them the worst aspects of the moving industry. And I do that purposely because guess what? These are things that you're still going to be faced with. And if these things scare you, then you don't need to be in it. My shoulder still ain't the same. My right hip ain't the same. You know how much money I spend on a trainer a week? Just so I can hit the right muscle just to keep my shoulder loose, because if I don't, it's going to stiffen up and tight up. It's clicking right now. Just for me doing this, it's popping. You can't hear it, but it's popping. It's been like this for years. I fell off the truck, bent my whole leg back, but I saved the couch though. Was my early days of building that moving business and me, going through what the physical, all the physical challenges I went through, was it worth it? Yeah, it was worth it. If I gotta, go to physical therapy, well, I don't go to physical therapy anymore, but I actually hired my therapist just to be my gym trainer, just to keep me in shape and keep things loose and, keep me strong. If that's what I gotta do, that's yeah, because guess what? It was the risk was worth the reward, because everything that God has blessed me with, it all started from that. So this shit is not easy. It's hard. It's hard work. Anybody that tells you anything in a labor industry, this is labor. What labor job is easy? Even the easiest labor jobs have hard times, have some hard things you may need to do. You talking about trucking. You running middle mile, you're going to be driving. You running final mile, you're going to be lifting. It is what it is. Either you're going to be driving all day or you're going to be lifting all day. Neither one of them is easy. Neither one of them is easy. So no, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. That's just like the guy emailing you and calling you, the guy who sounds like he Indian. Hello, may I speak to 5-Star Logistics? I am calling you from the internet lottery. You just won $5 million. We need your social security number, your address, your telephone number, your mother's social security number, your mother's maiden name, so we can send you your money, and we need your bank account and your routing number. We're going to send you the money, Mr. 5-Star Logistics. Can I please start with your social security number, please? And it's going to be a goofy. He might call 1 million people that day. It's going to be one goofy that's going to think that some random guy that just calls them out of thin air that tells them that they won $5 million. The only thing they're hearing is $5 million, and they're going to give them all that information. And then the little $1,200 they had in their account, when they wake up in the morning, that shit ain't going to be there no more. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably, if it sounds too good to be true, goddamn it, it is. It ain't no probably. Don't act like a middle American. Don't be one of them country bumpkins that from a town with 500 people where everybody know each other and don't know crime. They can sleep with their doors open. And then, oh, you know what? We're moving up to Chicago. I got a job in Chicago. Now you come from a place and a mentality where, you know, everybody is nice. You look out for each other. You come up here with that mentality. See how long you last. Don't be that person. It was a lot of people that were that person during the pandemic. Whether it was from the 16-foot box truck guy that said I'm making $7,000 to $10,000 a week in my 16-foot box truck, and selling courses and mentorships. Where's he at? Five Star said there's a learning curve no matter what land. Yeah, I say that all the time. There is a learning curve. But the point of me being here is to try to help people avoid as much as that learning curve and soften that learning curve as much as possible. And I'm quite sure, and I've seen it because people have told me, I've softened that learning curve for a lot of people. Yeah, you're right. And I say it all the time. There is a learning curve. That's why I'm here to try to soften it as much as possible. I like helping people. That's why I do it. I get enjoyment out of it. It's just like this. I tell people this. I said this before, and a lady on my live stream got mad and said she's going to unfollow me, and I have a son and all this goofball stuff. Check this out. You got to be selfish in order to be selfless. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? When you're starting your business, you're starting whatever it is you're trying to do, you got to focus on you. In order for me to be selfless right now, to be spending time with you guys on a Friday night, other than the fact that I'm purposely trying to do something to keep my mind occupied so I can stay woke, it's because I was selfish all through my 30s so that I can be selfless now. Me being selfless is allowing me to help people that are willing to listen soften that learning curve. I had a coaching session earlier, and it was a 1-hour coaching session. Anybody's had a coaching session, you know how it is with me. You know what I'm saying? If I don't have nothing else to do when the time is up, I'll kick it on the phone with you. This 1-hour coaching session turned into 2.5 hours. I didn't charge this guy. I just kicked it up with him on the phone because I really wanted to understand the dynamic of his business, and an hour wasn't long enough. So once he got to, and I'm not going to go into it, but once he got to explaining everything, then I had a full, I could really say and point him in the right direction. What allowed me to be that selfless is because I was selfish. I built a business. I focused on the business. I didn't think about building a family. I didn't think about nothing. Anything that spoke against the business and where I was trying to take the business, but because I was able to do that, and that because I was selfish, right, it allows me to be selfless now. I would never be able to be selfless if I wasn't selfish back then. And I think a lot of people need to use that and take that mentality and really run with it. and really run with it. You got to be selfish. If you really want to be a business person, you really want to see some success, you have to focus most of your time on the business. You got to be selfish. So yeah, I agree. There is a learning curve. Uh, but I want to try to soften that for as many people as possible. I saw a lot of box truckers during the pandemic, saw them close shop, turn in truck. Uh, Most good people sad to see them close. Still watch box truck couple, honest about industry. Appreciate your honesty. Yeah. So, uh, and here's the thing: I don't know why so many people are dishonest, but I didn't. Let me take that back. I do know, so that they could enrich themselves, monetize themselves. Telling people, being honest with people. Um, you know, and here's the thing: I know a lot of people may not be able to go in depth as me and be able to forecast because they don't have the experience. They'll never tell you that, right? Because they have to save face because they're ultimately trying to get you to and buy into whatever it is they're selling. But I didn't come to the internet to capitalize off of other people. I already came to the internet with money, with success. I'm not on a journey. My journey started 10 years ago. Well, not 10 years, in 2010. So what, 13, 14 years ago, 14 years ago, 13 years ago, 14 summers. All right. So a big portion of the reason why I can do so much content and speak so candidly about this industry and be able to forecast and everything I tell you is going to happen, it happens and all this stuff. It's because I did the legwork years ago. I did the legwork years ago. I don't have to uh, sell people or withhold information or whatever the case may be so that people can like me. If you don't like what I'm saying, unsubscribe. If you appreciate what I'm saying because it's forthcoming, I appreciate you for uh, watching the channel. If you're a long-term subscriber, you've been watching me since the early days, then you just know how I'm coming with it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, and this is pandemic is something that we're going to continue to talk about for a long time. And I just had to come to the realization of that myself. That time period, it really was. Man, it was just one of those, like I'm damn near thinking of making a movie about that shit. Because it was that big of a deal when it came to this box trucking industry. That time period was that big of a deal. From how it started, how it trended, to the infusion of people coming into it, to the scamming, to the coaching, to the misinformation, to the people being misled, to the industry shifting, to the people getting in with the high initial cost, down to the fuel going up, to the rates going down, to the people that still had initial costs, to the exodus of people going out, to the peak season thinking they won't see a repeat of 2021, to the not seeing that, to the exodus of people exiting, to the exodus of content creators that sold people this false reality exiting, all the way to 2023 to where we are now on the brink of a second exodus that me and Kirk actually talked about on an earlier episode of The Wise Men. We say it's going to be another wave of people exiting. And we're on the brink of that now. I DM you on Facebook, give me a reach, bro. Yeah, I'm behind. I'm still trying to catch up on my DMs and my messages. So be patient. Please be patient. Be patient. Shout out to everybody who's watching on Facebook too. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. General question, but what's a good cost per mile cap with a 26-foot box truck if they're getting started, trying to be realistic with numbers? Well, let's ask you this: do you have a truck? Do you have a truck? James Salmon said it was an epic time. It definitely was an epic time. Um, it was just a time where looking. I wasn't on YouTube in the midst of that. I came in YouTube April of 2022, right when fuel started to go up, and things were in the beginning phases of shifting. Um, but after I came on YouTube, I started looking back at a lot of people's older content, and that's where I saw a lot of information. And there was a lot of people that were hanging on throughout the rest of 2022, and there was still being misinformation spread up until that exodus that came around November, December of last year. It definitely was an epic time, which is why I say that's something that we're gonna have to use as a reference point over and over and over again. Because until things until everybody that came into the industry at that time that entered correctly, that's holding on by a thin thread, is shaken out, and the dust kind of settles, that's always going to be a reference point, probably for at least another year or two. What should a cargo van make in a market like Atlanta? Your question is similar to Jeremiah's. These are questions that are just too broad to answer. You know what I'm saying? What should a cargo van make? I tell you one thing: a cargo van, I think, in any market, if I'm running a cargo van in today's times, forget a driver. If I were running a cargo van, I got me and my one cargo van. I'm running my own cargo van. I need to make at least $300. $100 is not worth me running it. 150 is not worth me running it. 200 is not worth it. 250 is not worth it. For me, I need to make 300. 300 schmackaroos. All right. So whatever I need to do to make 300, then that's what I'm going to do. So if I got to run for Office Depot and they're paying me $2 a piece and I got 100 pieces that day, I made 200. Now I got to go find something to make 100 more dollars. I'm on Curry, I'm on GoShare. God damn it, if I got to go on Amazon Flex and do 2 runs to make that extra $50 a run here, $50 a run there, or if I got to go on Roadie, or if I got to piece some stuff together, then that would be the minimum that I would need to make. So however I needed to do it, then that's what I would do. So me and the cargo van, I gotta make $3 a day. Not looking into buying one or getting it financed. The rental numbers aren't looking too good. No, looking into buying one or getting it financed. Well, all right. So depending on what you get, see, here's the thing with the question you answered. That can depend. That's going to depend on your cost, your initial cost, depending on what truck you buy, depending on what your insurance rate is. all that. I can only tell you what people are going for right now. And what people are going for right now is really not enough for them to sustain a healthy business. Especially if a broker is saying that he's getting semi truck guys to run cheaper than box truck guys. All right. So if you're planning on running middle mile, I can tell you this: you definitely want to have your costs as low as possible. So let's say we were getting into the box truck space. If I were getting into the box truck space right now and I was looking to run middle mile, I was looking to finance a truck. Me personally, I would be looking for a truck somewhere between $20,000 to $40,000. Now, there's going to be somebody out there that's watching. And they're going to be like, "Man, this dude is crazy." But am I really crazy? No, I'm not crazy. One, because why? Like I always say, the margins are very low. See, me, I want to maximize my earning potential as much as possible. I want to maximize my earning potential as much as possible. I don't want to get into the space. See, me, I'm not afraid of what a lot of people that I talk to are afraid of, which is a breakdown. Because I understand that the truck is going to break down anyway. See, the thing is, the truck is going to break down anyway. I don't care if the truck is in 08. I don't care if the truck is in 18. At the end of the day, both of these trucks are going to break down, right? I'm going to do as much due diligence if I go to look at the 08 as I'm going to do as I go look at the 18. Ultimately, I'm trying to save as much money as possible so I can increase my earning potential, right? So I'm looking at a truck between $20,000 and $40,000, right? All right. From there, I'm shopping with my broker. I'm looking for the best insurance rate I can get. All right. I'm trying to keep my initial costs down. If I'm running over the road, I'm not even looking at. I'm partialing everything up. I'm going to sell the space on my truck. So let's say I was entering into the middle mile space now with the trucks that I have. All right, trucks that I have are older, they're paid for. My cost is very, very low. I'm selling space for cheap going in one direction, right? I'm selling space for cheap, a lot cheaper than probably what most people would take. They'll probably frown at me if they know what I would sell space for. But I'm selling space on my truck. So what you may be looking for at a cost per mile doing a one pick, one drop, I'm not looking at that cost per mile. I'm looking at freight rates for a lot lower, going in that same direction, and I'm selling space on my truck ultimately to compound to make money. Now, do you understand what I'm saying? Or is that a little bit too advanced for you? Because Kirk said, "Man, Mark, you kind of too advanced." If a broker tells you not to partial, lie. Here's the thing: me and Kirk had this conversation earlier, and middle mile is not my lane. I know how to do it. But here's the thing, because we were talking about somebody else that was talking about dedicated partials, and there's no such thing. All right. You can't dedicated means dedicated, right? Dedicated. I'm dedicated to my wife. All right. I have a dedicated run, meaning this is dedicated. This is what I'm doing. This is what I have dedicated myself to. A partial means you're selling space on your truck to a multitude of people, right? So if I'm selling 10 feet to this company or to this broker, I'm selling 5 feet to this company or this broker, another 5 feet to that company or that broker. That's 20 feet. I got 6 feet left. And let's say I sell another 5 feet. So I said 10, 5, 5, and 5. So I got 4 different people, 4 different loads, right, that I'm dealing with. That's 4 different things that I picked up from 4 different places that are going to 4 different places, right? If that's the case, how can any one of them individually be dedicated? Because this is what somebody else said on another channel. Doesn't make sense. Dedicated means dedicated. Dedicated. You pick up, you drop off. Nothing in between. So people make up terminology to make it seem like they know what they're talking about when ultimately it doesn't make sense, because the term dedicated, if you look up the definition of it, let's look up the definition of dedicated, man. Dedicated definition. Devoted to a task or purpose, having a single-minded loyalty or integrity. Single. Dedicated. I have a dedicated run. We have to use our context clues. See, my OG was a teacher, man, so I know how to break things down. All right? And this is why, let me stop. Dedicated. Devoted. There's no such thing as a devoted partial. Because if it's devoted, then it no longer becomes a partial. And if it's a partial, that means there's other things that you got to, tasks that you've agreed to do, that you've ultimately included. And if there's inclusion, right? If there's inclusion, then there can be no one single thing that's dedicated. Now, I'm not going to say who said that, but I was watching a live stream. I was perusing. We was talking about this earlier. I was perusing through the internet. One of your favorite box truckers said that shit. That shit don't even make sense, man. Dedicated partial. I don't even run middle mile, but I know it. And nothing, man. Nothing. Forget it, man. Oh, man. I don't know, man. That DM on Facebook, no looking in the bio, one again, but don't count gig apps with CAB. Saying that those so-called content creators doesn't be truthful with their work. Jeremiah said the insurance is real, cost $3,100 a month. So if your insurance is $3,100 a month, that's what you're getting quoted for, then that shit is high. That's high, bro. If I were you, I would shop around. Why is your insurance that high? How old are you? Shout out to Mike G in the building. I just literally got a new quote for $3,200 a month. Dang. Why is y'all insurance that high? Hey, touring here in Houston, so low with gig apps. It's a shame. Just got truck number 2 today, $2,200 a month. 20 cents per mile. Oh, you rented another truck from Enterprise? $2,200 a month, huh? It's a little less than $600 a week. TQL wants to give you $2 per mile with a no partial rule on one pallet. Aren't you Guru? Yeah, the insurance is crazy. That makes perfect sense. All TQLs belows call for a full truck, 1 pallet, or 12, and they will blacklist you if they catch you. So you said TQL full truck, 1 pallet. You said TQL don't want you to partial. Now, the inner workings of how to maneuver around that, you guys got to talk to Kurt, because I don't run it. But the fundamentals of it are pretty simple. You're just selling space. You're selling space. That's it. And I know a lot of people say it's hard. They can't figure it out. There is an art to it. There is a science to it. But if you look at it like outside of the fact of piecing the stuff together, if you just look at it at selling space, dividing your truck up and selling space, selling floor space, that's a good start on, I think, capturing uh, the basic fundamentals on how to go about doing it. And then from there, get with Kirk and then let him, give you all the inside tricks of the trade, um, as far as how to maneuver, around whatever it is. All TQS belows call for a full truck, one pallet of 12, and they will blacklist you if the yeah. The apps be on the same Mario Trials. Hey Mark, where can I find good moving contract template? Just booked my first moving job for a 1 bedroom apartment, $100 truck fee, 2 hour minimum. Do you want to find a good contract template? Use Rocket Lawyer. Rocket Lawyer. You're gonna pay a subscription fee for it, but if you you go to use Rocket Lawyer to create your contract and your waivers, and then you should be able to include a contract with a price sheet on there too as well. Make sure you print out some waivers too. Wait, 3 more Welsh Monday. That's over 10 bands. All right. All right. So yeah, guys, just wanted to jump on real quick and talk about this incoming exodus. Hopefully, let me look at the poll. So 70%, 83 votes, 70% said, do you think your box truck business will survive 2023? 70% said yes. 11% said no, it's not looking good. And then 19% said I'm 50-50. I'm struggling. So hopefully, we can turn that 19% and that 11%. So that 30%, hopefully we can turn that 30% into a yes for sure. Hopefully this information that I gave earlier is enough encouragement for you guys to get the ball moving. You may need to reorganize your business. If that's the case, then I wouldn't wait to start doing that. I would start doing that as soon as tomorrow. And yeah, so don't get caught. We got 3 more months. It's September 9th now. These next 3 months are going to go by really, really fast. These next 3.5 months are going to go by really, really fast, guys. And it's going to be January. And, just to reiterate before I leave, if you're having a tough time now, if you're down in the dumps now and you're like, man, what am I going to do? It's only going to get worse in January. You may have a good peak season. You may not have a good peak season. That all depends. I know what your peak season is going to look like, but you gotta get that content out the members only section. So my forecast for peak season is in the members only section. If you need working capital for your business, if you need funding for your business, if you need a business line of credit, go to my plug at Rock Financial. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Let me end that poll right now. I'll put the link to sign up for lending at Rock Financial. I just pinned that to the top of the chat. Also, the webinar. The webinar, if you're interested in starting your box truck business and you want to start it the correct way and you want to know everything you need to enter into this business correctly, whether it's a box truck business or a cargo van business, same idea, same fundamentals. I'm doing that webinar October 15th. I just put that link in the chat as well. Tickets are very affordable. I'm only going to do 50 people. It's going to be from 9 to 1. So it's going to be 4 hours. So make sure, if you do come, you got a pot of tea brewing, some coffee brewing. Make sure you got a nice notepad so you can take notes, a couple pencils, a couple pens. Make sure you're comfortable because we're going to kick it. We're going to break it down. We're going to look at financials. We're going to look at budgets. We're going to look at market. We're going to look at competition. We're going to compare and contrast the different modes of transportation or the different modes of entry. If you want to start a box truck business, whether you want to do a moving business, a final mile business, big and bulky, a curbside business, middle mile OTR, even if you want to just, say, hey, I want to run Amazon, we're going to look at all of them. We're going to break it all down so that you don't make the mistake that a lot of people made in 2020, 2021, and 2022, and even some people in 2023. There's some people that entered into the space this year that are already out the space. All right. All of that was due to lack of information, mixed with a little bit of ignorance, um, mixed with some misjudgment, mixed with some misinformation, and mixed with some being misled. So I want to set you up uh, to enter correctly. All right, to enter correctly. So I'm going to spend the time with you that day to ensure that you do enter correctly if you're coming in, or if you're already in and you need to backpedal and say, you know what, my business is not doing right. A lot of the stuff Mark talks about that he says I should have done at the beginning, I need to backpedal a little bit and get that structure into my business. You're welcome to come as well. So that link is there. To Jeremiah about that insurance, you want to get a broker. I 100% guarantee that if you say $3,200 a month, I guarantee you sat down at a computer or at your phone and you went through the process yourself with Progressive. I'm 99.8% sure that quote you're talking about, and I know I'm froze, but I'm gonna keep talking, is with Progressive. I know it's with Progressive. The camera unfreeze in a second. All right. What else? Who else? The agent told me it's tough for Cali truck business, right? I'm like, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm shopping for better coach, bruh. Happy hunting. Same thing for you, Antra Guru. You want to get a broker. Find a broker, a commercial broker in your market, and let them shop for you. Let the broker shop for you. They have a plethora of different insurance companies that you probably never heard of. And then if it's a good broker, they'll be able to piece you a policy together. It's like I tell people all the time, you don't have to have the same insurance company for everything. I'm a great example of that. I have 3 different insurance companies. I have a different company for general liability. I have a different company for commercial auto, and I have a different company for cargo because I have a hell of a broker that understands Mark is cheap. I don't want to pay nothing. I want everything from you and without paying you nothing. I want the cheapest with the most value. So the broker does his job. He shops you. Takes about a week. He puts the deal out there. He puts your profile out there. This is Vincent or Jeremiah. This is what Jeremiah's profile look like. Jeremiah is this age. He has this truck, year, make, and model, VIN number. Truck is going to be parked here. This is his address. He's this old. Here's his MVR. Here's what he's going to be doing. Here's where he's going to be going. Blah, blah, Skippy. Insurance companies look at it. They send back the quote. Broker looks at all the quotes. Progressive wants this. This company wants that. This company wants this. This company wants that. Not only does he look at the full quotes for them to run everything, he looks at the itemized for each thing. Okay, this company wants this for general liability, this for commercial auto, this for this. So you know what? Maybe I should take this company, general liability, put that there. We're going to take this company over here for commercial auto, put that there. And then we'll take this company here for a commercial cargo and put that there, and it's going to save me cheap. That's what a broker will do for you if you have a good broker. Now, if you have a broker that sucks, and I'm saying it, you could tell them I said it because that means they're lazy. You're going to go to them. They're going to tell them you need insurance. You're going to tell them what you need insurance for. They're going to be like, all right, give me a day. They're going to contact you the next day and say, yeah, Progressive. That's the only person who would insure you. And that's bullshit. They just went to Progressive because that's the easiest for them, and that's the one that they could turn around quickly because they just went and did the same thing that you did when you sat at the computer and did yourself. They're just doing it from their office because they're too lazy to shop you and wait patiently because they're trying to suck you in as soon as possible because they think you don't know any better. So get a broker. The broker doesn't cost you anything. The broker gets paid from you paying your insurance bill. He gets a residual from you paying your insurance bill. Who pays the broker? The insurance company pays the broker. The broker's job is to connect you between the insurance. He's the liaison between you and the insurance company. You like me, you got a moving company, you're in a big city, a lot of buildings that you need to go into, they're not going to let you in the building unless you add them to the policy as additionally insured. Hey, broker, Mr. Broker, John Broker. Hey, this is Mark. All right, we're going into 111 Main Street. They're saying we need to add as additional insured. I emailed you the verbiage. Can you take care of that? Broker gets the verbiage. He then forwards that email to the insurance company. The insurance company adds the verbiage to the accord form. The broker, the insurance company emails the accord form back to the broker. The broker emails the accord form back to you. You in turn email the accord form to the property management company, and that will allow you entrance into the building on the day of the move to do the move. This is what a broker does for you, outside of the fact of shopping you for the best insurance rates possible. Do not shop for your own insurance. Let the broker do it for you. Trust me. All right. Sounds like the entry cost for a van is way cheaper. You make half the money than box truck, but your expense is cheaper. Man, if I was getting into the space right now, I would probably go the van route, man. I ain't finna lie to y'all. That's just me. That's the 43-year-old Mark. If I were getting into the space right now, knowing what I know, me personally would probably just go the van route. I would just work the hell out of the van. But that goes to, market analysis. I know I can make decent money in my market with a van. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can enter a lot cheaper with a van. It's less money, but the thing with a van is it's a lot more opportunity. There's more opportunity with a van, you know what I'm saying? And there's less restrictions as well. So I could do a dedicated run like Big Zoe. He did a dedicated run earlier with Staples. He made a couple $100 there. Then afterwards, he did small moving jobs on probably the Thumbtack act. He made an additional $600 on the second half of his day for 3 hours of work. So for 3 hours of work, doing a small move, he made $600. And he probably made a third of that during his dedicated run. So let's say he made a third of that during his Staples run. So in a day's work, he made $800 with a van. There's some box truckers I know that's not making $800 in a day. And that's no cap. So, there's opportunity in the van. There's a little bit more opportunity to do more localized work with a van than it is with a 26-foot box truck. Shout out to Jarrell. What's going on? Much love, tapping in. Been OT all day. Got with Kurt too. Yeah, I talked to Kurt earlier. He said he sat down with you Sunday and broke the partial thing down to you. Why would I go the van route over the 26-foot box truck? Me personally, one, I just said it. Well, maybe you did hear it. I don't know when you put that question up. In my market, this is going off me and my market. I'm not speaking in a general sense. All right, I'm not speaking for the entire country. I'm not speaking in a general sense. I'm speaking from a place of me knowing what I know. If I was to start fresh, brand new, but knowing what I know in my market, I would do a van because I could still make comparable amount of money similar to a 26-foot box truck without one doing a lot of heavy lifting, without a high initial cost, because my market has opportunities available at a higher price point that I would be able to position that van and be able to capitalize on it. I would do a dedicated run in the morning in which I would make somewhere between $200 to $425. And then after that dedicated run, I know I could make another $200 to $300 in the second part of the day, either doing gig opportunities or doing small odd and end moves with that van. I know my market. So I know what I could do in that van. I wouldn't want to. The 43-year-old Mark wouldn't want to be climbing in and out of a 26-foot box truck if I was to start right now. If I was to start right now and say, you know what, I'm just going to get a vehicle and I'm just going to do stuff on my own, I'm going to get a van. I don't want to be climbing in no truck. I don't want to be lifting nothing. I don't want to have to maneuver no big old truck around. I don't want to have to be bagging no big truck in. I don't want to have to be maneuvering down these tight Chicago alleys. I don't want to have to be backing up these tight Chicago alleys because it's a T alley and I'm not going to be able to make the turn. I don't want to have to double park on a lot of these side streets where there's no parking, and I'm not going to double park. I'm just got to gorilla the street and block the street to make the delivery. So now I got people honking and cussing at me and giving me the middle finger. I'm not going through all that. So if I can get a cargo van and make $500 a day, I would be fine with that. I would be fine with that. At this point, if I were entering into the space at this point in my life, I would get a Transit T250 high roof EL extended length, right? And then if I catch me a couple long distance moves off thumbtack, boom, I'm hitting the road. If I need that extra space, I'm going to U-Haul. I'm getting a 6x12 trailer for the $29.95. I'm going to get them the extra $8 for the insurance. So now I'm at $38 a day. I'm going to hook that 6x12 trailer onto the back. I'm going to make sure I have me a tow hitch on the back. If it don't come standard with the van, then I'm going to go to U-Haul. I'm going to buy one that's rated at 7,000 pounds. I'm going to pay them the $200-$300 to install it. And I'm going to get money. I'm gonna get money. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would do. That's what I would do. You know, but that may not be the best option for you because your market may not be the same as my market. I'm in a market that's dense. I'm in a market with a large public school system. I'm in a market with a huge hospital. There's plenty of hospitals. I'm in a market with multiple courts, and these are all the places that order from Office Depot. So the opportunity is there. I'm also in a market where there's a lot of industrial plants that order pallets of paper. The opportunity is there. I'm in a market where the gig apps have work. I'm in a market that when you drive into the city and you're looking at downtown, you see cranes all over the place. They're building. Construction is popping here. So guess what? I can go on the Curie app and there's a plethora of orders for Sherwin Williams. I can go on GoShare and there's orders for Lowe's. And if all is said and done and I haven't met my quota, there's good old Amazon Flex. In my market, they have Amazon Flex XL, which caters to larger vehicles. So, yeah, I would do that. Uh, what about the 20-year-old mark? Would you still pick that over a van? 20-year-old mark? No, the 20-year-old mark started with my pickup truck and then went into a box truck. Then just kept buying box trucks because the 20-year-old mark, the 20-year-old, well, I didn't start when I was 20. I started 29, 30. But the 20-year-old mark, let's say, the 30-year-old mark, it was a difference from the 43-year-old mark. The 29, 30-year-old mark had stronger legs, which my legs are stronger now, but my knees aren't as strong as they were then. A lot of the reason behind that is from using my legs to lift a lot of heavy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Early on. And then I really messed myself back up when the pandemic hit and then nobody want to bring their ass to work. And a person who hadn't been on a truck in 7 years, who had, what do people do when they start making a lot of money? I had a big old gut. If I show you a picture of me in 2019, my face was like this. I had a beer. I don't even drink beer. Never drank a beer in my life, but I had a big old gut. I was just, I was just, I was just getting money and not taking care of myself. Um, I had to get back on the truck. So being on the truck 2020, 2021, 2022, it just, I was really, even though I got back in shape, I was beating myself up, man. I had to pull myself off last year and say, you know what? I'm gonna keep this up to the end of the year. I'm gonna have to I'm going to have to. I had already divested. I said, you know what? I'm going to have to change my exit strategy for 2025. I'm going to have to move it up. My body can't take it. I'm going downstairs with a sleeper sofa and I'm having to brace my right side because my right hip is not as strong as my left hip. My knees are aching. I feel like the bones are cartilage is touching. It's like because when I get out there, I'm a dog. I'm a dog. I actually threw my shoulder out again last year, and I was on YouTube. I just never told. There's never. I didn't tell y'all. So I'm sitting up here, some of them live streams, shoulder out of whack like a bug. I threw my shoulder out around this time last year, August, on a job where it was an armoire. And man, that armoire was heavy, man. It was heavy, and man, I threw my shoulder out. I threw my shoulder out, and then last summer in August, I my lower back. I sprained my lower back. Um, and that was a day where uh, my route, one of I ran a 3-man crew, and one of the guys didn't show up. So we had 2 moves that day, I believe. But I ended up having to cancel the second move because we were short of man. That first move just took us longer because it was a third floor to a steep second floor, and we really needed 3 men, and it was just 2 of us. And that third floor that we moved him out of happened to be a duplex, so it was 4 flights. So it was that third floor. We had to go up 3 floors. The living room and the office was on the first floor, but the bedroom was on the second floor, which made it a fourth floor. And it was just 2 of us. And he had a lot of heavy shit. He had the nerve to leave his dressers with all his clothes in them, which was on the fourth floor. So we had to go down 4 flights, and it was a solid wood dresser that was heavy. So, even with us telling him that he needed to take all his clothes out, that thing was still heavy. By the end of that move, I had sprained my lower back, um, really, really bad. And between my back and my shoulder, I said, man, I'm gonna get this a few more months, and then I'm coming off the truck. That was it. I haven't been on a truck since October of 2022. So yeah, the younger me, my bones were a lot more intact. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the younger me would go get a truck. The younger me would want to maximize my earning potential as much as possible, and the younger me wouldn't have known how to. And here's the thing too: you got to look at the fact that the younger me, when I got started, e-commerce wasn't in the position where it is today in 2023. In 2010, e-commerce was nowhere near. Uh, Amazon was just in the early stages of Amazon Prime. They were still trying to figure it out at that point. They had just in 2008 started incorporating other things besides books to sell. Right? In 2010, when you ordered something from the few amount of places that were online stores, the typical turnaround time was about 5 to 7 days. There was no such thing as 2-day delivery. There was no such thing as next day delivery. There was no such thing as same day delivery back then. Amazon I don't want to say created, but they ushered in 2-day delivery, then next day delivery, then same day delivery. So back then, the opportunities that present that you have today for final mile, small parcel final mile, those opportunities didn't exist because e-commerce wasn't built up the way it is now. And that turnaround time wasn't there because the logistics wasn't there. There were no fulfillment centers. E-commerce hadn't evolved into what it has evolved into now. So, answering that question in a general state, I would go with the truck, right? Because that would have been the best thing to do at that time. But that's why I said, knowing what I know today, adding the fact that e-commerce has evolved, adding the fact that e-commerce has evolved from 2010 to 2023, where a person can order something at this very moment right now. And if I have an app on that is linked with a particular retailer and I'm working through a third party app, they order something at this very moment right now. It goes through the shuffle of the artificial intelligence, how the store uh, API is linked to the API, let's say with the third party app, let's say Curry or GoShare, and then within 5 to 10 minutes, I'm getting a ping on my phone because I'm closest to that particular store that's fulfilling orders, online orders, as well as being a retail store. I'm getting a ping to my phone that I can go to that store and pick up this order of paint for Susie Jane and take it 3 miles, and they're going to pay me $15 to do so. You see what I'm saying? So ultimately, because of the way the industry has evolved and me being in the industry long enough to know, I would know how to maximize my earning potential getting a van now. So it's a different situation versus 2010 versus now. Right now, I would do the van though. Back then, I would still do the box truck because the box truck would be more conducive at that time period for me to get money back then. People are following what they see on YouTube and social media instead of researching their market to see what's going to work for them. Yep, Edgar, that's what we were talking about. Uh, try Curry, Go Share, Mothership, Rody. Trying to figure out what's to the U box thing with U-Haul. You get that through a broker. That's on the load boards. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're talking about the the video I did on U-Box. That video I did on U-Box, if you got a pickup truck, you can go through movinghelper.com and you can apply to move U-Boxes with your pickup truck. But just by just hitching them onto the back of your pickup truck using your tow hitch. So I don't know if you're talking about moving them in your box truck or moving them with your pickup truck. If you're talking about moving with your pickup truck, just go to movinghelper.com and apply. I feel you on that thing. I've been through on the truck crazy, smashed my head on the lift gate, fell off the back of the box truck, dropped the C72 off the back of the box truck because my guy was weak. Yeah, so I felt falling off the back of the box truck twice. I fell off like in 2011, 2012, and then I fell off the back of a box truck again like in 2020, 2021. The difference between me falling in 2011, 2012 was I hurt my leg saving the couch. The difference, when I fell off a few years ago, literally my wallet broke my fall. And I'm not saying I had a lot of money in my wallet, but I got like a lot of cards and stuff in my wallet. So when I fell off on my behind, my wallet was just kind of protruding. So I fell on my wallet. So it kind of broke my fall from like my low, my collarbone down there or my vertebrae area, small in my back, hitting it. And then when I hit the ground, there was a dumpster right behind me. Luckily, I didn't whip my head back, and when I hit the ground, my head lightly tapped the dumpster. So I was fine in that situation. But in 2011, 2012, when I fell off, I was messed up. Like my leg literally bent the opposite way. My knee was messed up for a minute. Yep. So, uh, you said you just had that happen to you last week, didn't cancel, just press through it. I hate when customers do that. Yeah. Uh, did you ever wear braces? I wear braces. My guys be flaming me. Yeah, so I wore a knee brace for a period of time, and then obviously I wear my back brace. But I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first started moving years ago, um, until I was educated and taught, I wasn't lifting things right. I was using my back. I wasn't using my legs, things like that. So the damage had already been done. Um, and then on top of the fact that I wasn't in the gym, I didn't exercise, things of that nature. So I didn't know how to strengthen certain muscles that the job, you know, re, I needed to rely on because of the job. Um, at that point, I was too busy working. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm in a space now where I'm not physically working, but I guess I kind of am going through therapy, even though I have a personal trainer who's very expensive. But it's something that because you know, I was successful, that I could afford to, you know, do, because my insurance was paying for it until they said, you know, we're not going to continue to pay for this. It was $600 a session, and I was going twice a week, so they were spending $1,200 a week on me. And then when they said, you know, we're not paying for this shit no more, Mark, my therapist was like, man, Mark, you know, I'll train you. Give me some time. I'm opening my own gym, and then I'll train you. And he opened his own gym, and then he's been training me. So a lot of the injuries that uh, I got, you know, when I re-entered back onto a truck during the pandemic, he's been able to, you know, get me out of those injuries, and ultimately, you know, I'm in the best shape of my life now. So you know what I'm saying. Keep me, you know, in shape. But you know that moving, it's and there's some movers in here. You know what I'm saying. So they know when I'm telling you, it ain't cap. You know, it's not for the it's not for the weak mind. It's not for the weak at heart. You're gonna have days where you out and you're gonna be like, man, when this move ever end, you're gonna be famished. And it's not enough water in the world that's gonna, you know, undehydrate you, if that's even a word. It's like, man, your feet are hurting. It's like, you know, you feel bust through your shoes. You know, you done lost 10 pounds. Your shirt is drenched with sweat. You could take your shirt off and wring it out and fill up a glass of sweat. And then you run out of water, and then you got a customer who won't even offer you a glass of water. It be days like that. It's days like that. They'll watch you slave for hours, won't even offer you a glass of water. But when that move is over and you have the pleasure of telling them, okay, you ready to settle up? All right, it's been 10 hours, 250 an hour, $250 truck fee. Your total today is going to be $2,750. All the pain that you endured, your feet just stop hurting all of a sudden. Your shirt turns into a Nike dry fit. It just dries up all of a sudden. You get a little pep in your step, and everything is all right again. Everything is all right again. Just to tell them, total's gonna be $2,750 today. So now you've taken that negative energy that you were feeling, right? And now they feeling it when you tell them your bill is going to be $2,750. So now you've taken all that weight that you had when you was enduring that move, and you put it on them, because now you see they face, they get the ugly face now, and then your frown turn into a smile. So it's worth it at the end of the day. It's worth it at the end of the day. It's worth it at the end of the day. So, but it's grueling work, man. I had a move I did in 2021, and it was for somebody I knew. We didn't finish that move at 2 in the morning. It was 2 in the morning, and It was way out in Indiana. I had to drive 45 minutes back to the yard and 30 minutes home. I didn't get home to like 3:34 in the morning. Had to be right back up at 7. Matter of fact, I didn't have to be up at 7. I had to catch a flight. I had to catch a flight at 6. So pretty much I came home, took a shower, and just headed straight to the airport. But guess what? When it was time to settle up at 2 in the morning, when I woke the customer up, because they would sleep on the couch in the living room, just sleep. Excuse me. We're done. We're done. How did you wanna pay? Oh, it was all better. Like the drive home wasn't so bad. Cause this is like you talking about 4,000 and some dollars. You talking about 4,000 and something dollars. And they hit each one of us with the 175 tip. So, it's box truck people running middle mile that's not making $4,000 in a week. So let me see. When you talk about cargo vans as well, I'm going to talk about entering into the space. So it's going to be the same thing. So if to answer your question, yes, not directly because I'm speaking in general. Like it's going to be in general. So market, finances, budget. I can do a compare and contrast, but it's going to be general just on how to enter into the business in general. You just take the same take the same concept and apply it. So the answer is yes. You can apply the same concept to a cargo van business. I took my shoulder a few months ago, raised in the landing gear after hooking to a shipping container. Ain't been right since. Yeah, that shoulder injury, the older you get, it's just hard. That shoulder injury is hard to repair. Like I've injured both shoulders, but by me being dominant on the right side, that shoulder healed itself. You know, it took some time, but it ultimately healed itself. This shoulder just seems like it doesn't want to heal. It doesn't hurt, but I got that popping. And I feel, when I'm doing exercises, when I was in the gym today was back day, and I'm at the machine, I got the thing planted on my knee, I'm reaching up and I'm squeezing. It's like when I'm pulling right here, it's like when I come up, it's like I'm bracing this side because I feel like, if I let it go too much with 4 plates, I feel like it's just gonna rip it out of socket. It's just like I don't feel confident with it. It's strong, but that confidence is no longer there. So it's just, those shoulders be tweaking sometimes. Like it's hard to takes a while for them to repair, especially on the weaker side. Said your wife thinks it ain't that hard. She won't come on a job with me. Yeah, said not even Gatorade can help your body. Man, I'm telling you. He said coffin carry 90 degrees, set up, rotate, stand tall, and turn. There's a couple that needs that another mover needs to know. Biggest move you ever had was $6,638. That's what's up. Natasha says, I always seem to catch your lies. Probably because you got the notification on. Let me see. Biggest tip you ever got was 600. Damn, what was the biggest tip I ever got? I can't remember. We got 1,000. I was on a crew one time where we got $1,000 tip, but we had to divide that obviously. I can't remember the largest individual tip I got. Admiral says best tip was from Chris Paul. 2K, that's what's up. You said how? So when I got injured, I did not report it. I'm not going to report myself. I just went to my primary doctor because I have my own health insurance, right? And I went through therapy that way through my insurance. I pay my insurance, you know what I'm saying? So I just went through my personal insurance that ultimately, my business pays 50% of that and I pay the other 50%, which is still very expensive, but I didn't file a claim against myself. I just went through my insurance. So no, my insurance didn't go up. Some rich people just don't tip. Some rich people just don't tip. Some people don't believe in tipping. Yep. See, like you said, especially people who have a lot of money. A lot of rich people don't tip. Uh, uh, Mark, what days do you normally go live? I go live every Thursday. I do box truck testimonials Wednesdays. And then I do pop ups whenever I feel like it. uh, So yeah, I go live whenever I feel like it. So I wanted to talk tonight, so I came on and talked. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good turnout too for a Friday night. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Just be aware of what's about to come up. Things are going to get very tough. Um, take my word for it. So if you do have an opportunity where you are making money right now, don't take it for granted. Try to store as much money as you can. January is slowly creeping up on us. Remember, you're a business owner, so you don't want to live in the moment. You want to be ahead. 6 months. I'm in March right now in my head. I'm in March. All right, so start thinking beyond the holiday season. January is going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. If you're struggling now, subtract 25 to 30% in a downward trajectory from that. All right. So keep that in mind so that you can encourage yourself to do better and to, properly prepare yourself for that time period. And just, man, if you need to reorganize your business to get your business on the up and up, do that as well. Is January good for moving? Absolutely, positively not. Everything that you could do in a box truck and trucking period, like every most industries slow down in January. Retail, logistics, everything. Nothing really moves. If it has anything to do with a good, whether it's a good being sold or a good being moved or a good being transported, it's going to be slow. January is slow. Go on vacation. Save your vacation for January. That's how bad it's going to be. That's how bad it is. So, no, absolutely not. No one moves in January. People who move in January are people who is forced to move because they getting their ass put out, and you don't want to do a move for them anyway because if they getting put out, most likely they might not pay you. the The one time I didn't get paid back when I was first started, this is before I was even licensed, when I was still hustling. It was a gypsy, and it was in January. He didn't pay. He had us doing all this work. He was bogus too. If I ever see that dude, I hope God is with me that day. I hope the Lord Jesus, I hope God is with me that day. If I ever run into this guy, I had to let it go. They pulled me out. They had to pull me out the house. You know, the west side and the southeast side of Chicago came out of me because I had did 7 hours worth of work for this man, and he knew he didn't have the money. He knew he didn't have the money. So what would really piss me off about him was once we moved everything, he knew he didn't have the money to pay us. So once we got everything moved in those hours that it took to move, he should have just cut us off then. But he was so ignorant to the point he had us assemble shit. He had us take time. We had to break shit down. So he had us put everything back together. He could have did that shit on his own. He could have just screwed us by just having us relocate the stuff from point A to point B and just said, all right, y'all, that I handle it from here. I ain't got the money to pay y'all. Whatever y'all want to handle it, let's get it on out the way. If y'all gonna beat my ass, beat my ass. But he went to the extent where he allowed us to be there for 7 hours, assemble shit, set shit up, set the bunk beds up for his kids, all that shit, and didn't pay us. I swear to God, they had to pull me out the crib. I swear to God, I might have to get Suge to come on here one day and tell the story. He had to pull me out of that man's crib. He begged me to come out that man's crib. I was already said, man, call my OG. Tell her to come get me. I'm going to be on 26 in California. For those people who's from Chicago, y'all know what 26 in California is. Suge begged me, Mark, please, please, please. It ain't worth it, man. You going to make it back. You know, just sitting here thinking about this shit is making me mad. So I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go pray that I don't ever see this guy right now because it's upsetting me. So I'm gonna go because I gotta say a prayer because I don't want to feel like this. So I appreciate everybody for coming in. Make sure you take heed to what this Exodus is coming up. I will see you guys. You said it happened to me. I changed my terms and conditions. My terms and conditions now have a provision where in that situation they agree to pay detailed amount. But here's the thing. It's just like this. You can have provisions and all that, but if they ain't got the money, they ain't got the money. You know, if they don't have it, they don't have it. Sometimes desperate calls for desperate measures. And that guy was he was destitute that day, that he was willing to put his life on the line, his health. You know, his family was there. He had a wife and 2 little bitty kids. And he was scared to death. But he was desperate. Clearly, they must have got put out that other crib. But I didn't like the fact that he allowed us. If that was me and I knew I was bogus, once they got the shit into the crib, all right, y'all can go. I'm going to set all this stuff up myself. Let me get them out of here. Man, he had us there putting all this desk and bunk beds together and all this stuff. Man, he was bogus, man. That was some bogus stuff. And he didn't have it. I know he didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But God, that was early on. That had to be 2011. Because I wasn't licensed yet, and I remember we was in a Penske truck. Yeah, so man, God has tremendously blessed me. But I hope God is with me. I hope God never allows me to see that guy, especially on one of them days when I'm just having a bad day. Yeah, let me get out of here and say a prayer. I appreciate y'all guys. I will see you in the upcoming days. Peace out.